Okay. Well, folks, the diddler, P-Diddy. P-Diddy, we got some news, breaking news that just happened right here, right now, July 2nd of the year of our Lord, 2025. And you better believe everyone in independent media is going to be talking about this. Sebby Sabs, Do Dissidents, RBN, Jimmy Dore, INN, everybody, and your mama, you better be listening very carefully because the jury has reached a verdict. Here we go. Let's go, Ghostbusters.
Combs found not guilty of sex trafficking, and that applies to the girlfriend who went by the pseudonym as the name Jane. Mm-hmm. And CB, I'll bring you in. I want to read one more alert here because some of this seems to be a bit of a duplicate as it's coming in. Mm-hmm. Combs found guilty of transportation to engage in prostitution with the former girlfriend who I just mentioned as Jane. So those are 5 quick alerts that just came up on the Reuters wire, and we're awaiting more from inside the courtroom as we speak. Does that line up, CB, with what you have down there at court?
Bill, so what I'm looking at, count 1 through 5, the only count that I see that Diddy has been found guilty of is count 3, transportation to engage in prostitution as it pertains to Diddy's ex-girlfriend and accuser, Cassie Ventura. The other 4 counts I am seeing. Excuse me, let me backpedal a little bit, you guys. This is all breaking in. We're dealing with rolling thunder out here. So I'm seeing Diddy has been found guilty on 2 counts. The transportation to engage in prostitution counts, count 3 and count 5, as they pertain to Diddy's ex, Cassie Ventura, and another former girlfriend who testified under the pseudonym Jane. What I am seeing right now are guilty verdicts on count 3 and count 5. And I can tell you that prosecutors.
We also got another video here as well. Hold on here, folks. Stay tuned. You're going to want to keep on sharing. Let's go, Ghostbusters.
Have the first verdict on count 1, racketeering conspiracy. How do you find the defendant not guilty?
Not guilty.
And so now they'll move on to count 2. Count 2, how do you find the defendant not guilty? That is the sex trafficking of Cassandra Ventura. On count 3, which is Mann Act transportation involving Cassie Ventura, guilty. Count 4, sex trafficking of Jane, not guilty. Count 5, Mann Act transportation of Jane, guilty. So a mixed verdict here. Not guilty on 3 of the charges, guilty on 2 of the charges. Lisa, your reaction? Have the first.
So, again, just so everyone knows, breaking news. Just trying to keep an eye out, because you never know. Because now that the verdict is in, Kurt from the Jimmy Dore Show, I think you hit the nail on the head. You did. He did indeed. Oh, boy. So, breaking. Here's what happened. First of all, count 3, transportation to engage in the prostitution. Transportation. Count 5, transportation to engage in prostitution. Count 1, now found not guilty. Racketeering conspiracy. 2, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion. And count 4. We also got another video here. I want to get this all set up and ready so that people can see it firsthand as well. And I want to at least have this available for everyone to have at their disposal. So let's get to it. So Sean Diddy Combs was found guilty of transportation to engage in prostitution in his federal trial in New York. He was acquitted of the more severe charges of racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking. So he's acquitted. He might be walking away. I don't know. Maybe that. Okay. So Combs was convicted of 2 counts of the prostitution-related charge. Each count carries maximum sentence of 10 years in prison. Developments come after jurors said Tuesday they'd agreed on 4 on the 5 counts against Combs, but disagreed on the racketeering conspiracy. They reached a verdict on all 5 counts Wednesday morning. Jurors began deliberating in the U.S. court in Lower Manhattan on Monday. They said they'd reached a partial verdict Tuesday, but Judge Silverman sent them back to continue deliberating on the remaining count. What are the charges against Sean Diddy Combs? So the grand jury indictment against the 55-year-old Combs, unsealed in September 2024, initially charged the hip-hop mogul with 3 counts following his arrest at a Manhattan hotel in April. Before the trial began, prosecutors filed additional charges, bringing the total number of counts against him to 5. Combs pleaded not guilty to all the charges. The charges against Combs were racketeering conspiracy, count 1, count 2, sex trafficking by force, coercion, or fraud, count 3, transportation engaged in prostitution, count 4, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and count 5, transportation engaged in prostitution. Jane is a pseudonym used in a court for an ex-girlfriend of Combs who testified against him. The prostitution-related charges allege violations of the Mann Act, a law that makes it a federal crime to transport someone across state lines for prostitution. The charge of racketeering conspiracy requires prosecutors to prove a number of elements that was an agreement among 2 or more people to participate in a pattern of activity that would affect interstate commerce. That the defendant willfully joined it, and that members of the conspiracy committed 2 or more racketeering acts. The charging document lists a number of alleged racketeering acts, including kidnapping, bribery, sex trafficking, and forced labor. Prosecutors allege that Combs' business empire created a criminal enterprise that he used for years to cover the acts of violence and abuse to coerce women into fulfilling his desires. Jurors heard from more than 30 witnesses over the course of 7 weeks as the prosecution went through its case. Combs denied the accusations but chose not to take the stand to testify in his defense. His attorneys did not call any witnesses during the trial, though they did conduct extensive cross-examinations of the government's witnesses. Combs' lawyers argued the prosecution failed to prove the charges beyond a reasonable doubt. So there were all the freak-offs and everything else. So it looks like Mastermind Hour. Hold on, Mastermind Hour. I believe Mastermind Hour was proven. Yeah, he could probably get out of it. He could probably get out of this. Barnes Homestead. My dad was right. Money buys the law. Money. So what's a big takeaway from this? Well, will the diddler be able to? Will P Diddy? All of that. Will he face it? So Diddy could face up life in prison if the jury finds him guilty on racketeering conspiracy. He faces at least 15 years. The jury finds him guilty on sex charges. But again, look, folks, the trial says it all right now. I mean, you know, we're looking at firsthand some of the big things that were just dismissed. Not only dismissed, but were cast aside. Says a lot about the entire political system, and also about how pretty much how the top charges he was acquitted. Now it's easy for everyone to say, well, the jury, money buys it out, right? But he was found not guilty in count 1, not guilty in count 2. Guilty in count 3, though. Not guilty in count 4. And guilty in count 5. So, again, for those of you who don't know, count 3 and 5 are basically the transportation to engage in prostitution. Everything else, not guilty. Sex trafficking, force, or fraud, or coercion, that is count 2 and count 4. And, of course, the big granddaddy of them all, racketeering conspiracy. So, and this has to deal with not 1, but 3 victims. Some of these were women that he was in relationships with. During the trial, the prosecutors called multiple witnesses to the stand. But here we go. It is a sign of the times of overall what can happen when you have, such a high-profile case. Now, remember, now, you can remember, nothing is truly over. There's still going to be the fallout and aftermath. Sorry about that, folks. Excuse me. The fallout and aftermath. Will there be any kind of prison term? There is the small possibility for the other 2 things that he was found guilty of. But the big ones, the huge ones, the gigantic ones, no. It's all over. So, folks, isn't it great to be part of Hollywood? By the way, I'm noticing number 1 trending on Twitter right now is the diddler. One person writes here on X right now, only 2 out of the 5 accounts the jury found the diddler guilty on? That jury is stupid as F. Hold on, I got to share this. All right. Hold on. Who did this? Who did this? I need to know who did this. Who did this? Who did this? Step forward right now. Step forward right now. Oh, man. Justice in America. Okay. Well. Oh, and by the way again, folks, it is a matter of who you know and what you know. This isn't the first time we've actually seen the system fail this miserably. It's not the first time. Not the first time, but is anyone surprised? In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to have democracy in the chat. And all right. First of all, I'm seeing the jokes in here. I'm seeing the jokes in the live stream chat right now. Pedo did, okay. Diddy Mastermind Hour writes, Diddy slipped the long arm of the law because he was slathered in that baby oil. Let's see. What else? Daniel says, no, not my Daniel. Another Daniel says, guilty of shitey music. PW, they'll plead them down. Probably so. Robert Morrison says, and you don't think Trump won't weigh in? Oh, of course. Oh, of course they will. Of course. Big Basil, Guten Morgen indeed. Yeah. Guten Morgen indeed. And BW, I figured Diddy would get off. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord, indeed. Molly Littlebird says, we have a two-tiered so-called justice system. Absolutely. Again, my audience. I'm seeing some of the comments in the chat. So let's go ahead and have democracy in the chat. Let's go ahead. I'm going to write this question in a poll. Do you agree with the jury's decision? I'm going to add another option. There you go. Oh, wait. Okay. Here, do you agree with the jury's decision? Yes, no. There was no decision. It was money, baby. Starting the poll. Do you agree with the jury's decision? Type 1 for yes, type 2 for no, or type 3, Kit. Nobody of influence goes to jail. But there you go. I wonder how many threes will be in the chat. The chat is the only place we have democracy, says Voluntary. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It is the only place where we have democracy. It is the only place where we have democracy. And looking at how the entire media has been covering this story, it doesn't surprise me of overall just how people can, witness it. And already we're seeing everybody weigh in. Not guilty on 4 or 5 charges. Everyone's writing that. What we are witnessing is women don't matter, and men like the diddler can do what they want. When they want, simply disgusting. Let's see. Y'all really got the diddler back on the loose. The diddler escaped justice. The diddler, the new OJ. Free the diddler, somebody wrote. What? Come on. Don't do this. Stop it. Let's see. What else we have here? The diddler will be back. Oiled by December. That shite is hilarious. Let's see. What else we got here? The diddler's on the loose, people are writing. Sean Diddy Combs found not guilty on racketeering and sex trafficking. Guilty on 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. So here you go. There you go. It is the 2-tiered system that we have here in this country. So hit the like button if you haven't done so already. Be sure to subscribe. We'll be sure to follow more on this story. But is anyone surprised? Should anyone be surprised? I'm not.